Reporting for Newsreel, I'm Dr. Anthony Harper to address the concerns about the Anti-Semitic UN agency, UNRWA, and how my question about that agency was played on primetime television in Jerusalem on Channel 20, the first week of the Trump administration. When I was called on by Trump's press secretary, Sean Spicer, I get to ask the question about what President Trump's response would be to the misuse of U.S. tax dollars going into a UN agency that is inciting kids to violence against the Jews. So I'm playing upcoming in this video about my question that went viral in Jerusalem. And then also, I have another question that I got to ask General John Kelly of President Trump's regarding that agency, UNRWA, and the misuse of U.S. tax dollars.
גם בארצות הברית התקיימה אתמול שעת שאלות של עיתונאים במסגרת תדריך של דובר הבית הלבן. בין השמות שעלו שם היו גם שמותיהם של כמה חברי כנסת ישראלים. הנה.
Israel leaders in the Knesset, I'm aware of, are concerned about the misuse of U.S. tax dollars going to UN schools that are inciting kids to violence against the Jews. MK leaders Sharon Haskell, Yehuda Glick, and Dr. Eliza Levy. I met recently, had interviews with them. Their concerns are very serious. So they would want to know what President Trump, how he would respond to the misuse of these.
Well, I think I would go back to what I said to John a minute ago, which is that I think he has tremendous respect for how tax dollars are spent. But then I would mention again, I mean, we need a UN ambassador. We need a Secretary of State. There's a lot of these things that can start to happen under the direction of the new leadership that's being held up right now.
I'm Dr. Anthony Harper with the Interbound Christian News and Christian Newspaper Association, and in light of the President in support of pulling out of UNESCO, what would the President's response to UNRWA defunding, which is a UN agency that has been in the schools specifically inciting kids to violence against the Jews, and our tax dollars going into that? Do you have any statement about, in light of UNESCO pulling out, about UNRWA?
No, I mean, I'm not as familiar probably as I should be with it. I would just offer that the responsible way to look at any program, and certainly when I went to DHS, and I did this in Iraq and other places I've been, when we're expending U.S. taxpayer money, we should look at every program and decide whether it is being successful. If it's not being successful, then change it so it can be successful, or sometimes you just say it's not going to work. Go ahead.
Follow up to that would be the Prime Minister just came out today. There was a release, the government press office in Israel. The Prime Minister welcomed the withdrawal from UNESCO, and I had met with the Prime Minister of Israel in May about the UNRWA issue. He's very concerned. He made a statement in Jerusalem Post not too long ago in denouncing UNRWA. So I thought it would be.
I'd have to get more familiar. Sorry.
Anthony Harper with the Interbound Christian News and the Christian Newspaper Association. Blessed to be here in Israel again. Here I'm at the Knesset building with MK Sharon Haskell, and it was quite a surprise to see you at the President Trump inauguration event. And a lot has happened since that time. Of course, Donald Trump is the President of the United States now. And then there was also the issue of the question at the White House that I had asked regarding the UN schools, right, that was aired here in Jerusalem as well. I was curious about how that came about. What kind of response has happened since my question at the White House about the UN schools?
So a couple of things. First of all, it was a great honor to be able to attend the inauguration of the President of the United States, really discovering how much support and love we receive for the American people, from the Christian community. So that was absolutely overwhelming. When you asked the question about UNRWA, it has finally raised this issue here in Israel as well. Because as much as we discuss it among us, it wasn't something that the media put the light on it. And so as soon as you put that through, after we discuss it here in the interview, then suddenly a lot of the media here in Israel started becoming more and more interested in those particular issues as well, which are extremely important for the safety of Israel.
Well, it was a miraculous event to be able to be called on by President Trump's press secretary and mention that question the first week of Trump's administration. And the openness of this administration in the U.S. With President Obama, I was ignored and wasn't allowed to visit, to be in his press secretary office. But with President Trump, there was an open door for me and other Christian media to be welcomed in, and it was a breath of fresh air for Christian media.
I think that it's a breath of fresh air from quite a few perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding this anti-Semitic UN agency, UNRWA, Senator James Risch from Idaho has assisted me in this investigation regarding UNRWA, and also David Bedeen of the Center for Near East Policy.